Cricket Prabhu, you are muted. Still muted. Still muted.
Hare Krishna.
There we go.
Is it better?
Yes, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It's sixth canto, chapter 18, verse 47. Shikashyapa uvacha nahim syad bhuta jatani nasapennantram vadet nachintyan nakaromani nasprised yad amangalam. Word for word translation. Sri Kashyapa Uvacha, Kashyapa Muni said, Na himsyat must not harm, Bhuta Jatani, the living entities, Na saped must not curse, Na not, Anritam a lie, Vadet must speak, Na Chindyat must not cut, Naka Nakaromani, nails and hair. Nas praset must not touch. Yat, that which. Amangalam, impure. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Kashyapa Muni said, My dear wife, to follow this vow, do not be violent or cause harm to anyone. Do not curse anyone and do not speak lies. Do not cut your nails and hair, and do not touch impure things like skulls and bones. Purport. Kasyapa Muni's first instruction to his wife was not to be envious. The general tendency of anyone within this material world is to be envious, and therefore to become Krishna conscious person. One must curb this tendency, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. Paramo nirmatsaranam. A Krishna conscious person is always non envious, whereas others are always envious. Thus, Kasyapa Muni's instruction that his wife not to be envious indicates that this is the first stage of advancement in Krishna consciousness. Kashyapa Muni desired to train his wife to be Krishna conscious person, for this would suffice to protect both her and Indra. Just gonna move out of the sun more. Surya is blessing. ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते देवामृतस्वामिनीति नामिने। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनीति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I was meditating this on this point Prabhupada is making, how a devotee shouldn't be envious. A devotee should be non-envious. Paramo nirmatsaranam satam Bhagavatam can be relished by those who are not, don't have the envy in heart. And how this quality is actually very attractive even to Krishna and to living entities. Like when we see sometimes devotees with this quality, like Radhanath Maharaj and others, they just, like everybody is drawn to them, everybody is attracted to them because they see that quality there. And generally speaking, this quality, uh, this false ego, and pride is there in the heart of conditioned souls, and also in the beginners of Krishna consciousness. And we have these things in the heart, like false ego and pride, then we want to harm others. When we understand our constitutional position, then Jivere Swarupahoy Krishnera Nityadas, we understand our constitutional position, then we love everyone that Krishna loves, and Krishna loves it. All beings, all his children, all his creation. And we don't disregard others. Generally, when we have this envy in heart, one of the way it manifests is that we want to minimize others' position, minimize others' authority, qualities, qualifications, and like we talk like we know better, and we would do better, we are greater, like this, even though it's not even our position. Unless we are empowered by Krishna and we are highly inspired and it's our service, if we think we can do better than the senior devotees, that's like a very diseased condition. And when we have this anatta in the heart, then we won't be empowered with this special vision, bhakti vision. It becomes clouded. Um, Krishna says that, dwelling within our hearts, jnana deepena bhasvata, Krishna gives special vision, because without Krishna's mercy we can't remember him, without Krishna's mercy we can't even forget him. So if we have envy, then we won't have the special vision. We get vision to fault find and criticize and minimize and like that. And that's actually a material quality. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's this amazing pastime of this Vasudev, this devotee Vasudev. He had very advanced stages of leprosy, and back in the day they were ostracized. They were not allowed in the society. And he was so non-envious and so humble. Sometimes the pain and suffering is a great teacher. Krishna gives us these experiences to bring us to our senses. So Vasudeva was suffering so much, And he was so humbled and he was constantly chanting the holy names. And there were living worms. There were like worms living in his body. And this is, of course, we can imitate. It's an extreme, example. But if a worm would fall from his body, fall off, he would pick it up and put it back. So the worm can be comfortable. I mean, what kind of consciousness um, is so amazing. So when he heard Lord Chaitanya was nearby, passing through, he didn't meet him. And when Vasudev heard Lord Chaitanya was nearby, he had this realization that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of God, and nobody preached to him. He didn't read Chaitanya Charitamrita, like nothing. Within his heart, he had this spontaneous realization that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the Supreme Personality of God, and he was regretting and condemning himself, being so unfortunate that he missed the association, darshan of Lord Chaitanya. It was so sad. And Lord Chaitanya, being omniscient, he can understand this devotee and his heart and his strong desire, Vipralamba. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came back and went to Vasudev, who was having advanced stages of leprosy, and embraced him. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced him, his leprosy got cured and his body became so beautiful. He didn't even have a nose. It was melted from the leprosy, but he developed this beautiful nose like a sesame flower and beautiful complexion, and all his diseases went away. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased with his attitude, and he was fearful, and he was begging Lord Chaitanya, I had nothing going for me. I was so humble and I was constantly chanting the holy names. Now that you have embraced me and have become healthy and beautiful, uh, I might become proud. That was his fear. He said, uh, he didn't want it to become proud. He was thinking people are going to know about it. People are going to talk about it, how the Lord embraced me and healed me. So this was his fear. So this is the mood of the devotee. Same thing happened with Madhavendra Puri. When Madhavendra Puri, uh, when he received the sweet rice from the priest, because Gopinath hid the sweet rice for him. Maybe I should go back for a little bit. It's too bright. Yeah. So when Madhavendra Puri received the sweet rice, he was thinking, oh, now the people are going to know that the Lord personally stole the sweet rice for me. So he left town overnight before the word spreads. He didn't want that kind of fame. So a devotee is non-envious and well-wisher, well-wisher of all souls. I remember uh, in 2004, if I remember correctly, I was there in during the installation of Panchatattva, and Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj gave this famous class. He was so animated at the end, his hat flew off. Basically, he made us all make this prayer how whatever is there favorable in Prabhupada's service, let it remain, and we should give up whatever is an impediment in our hearts. And then he wrote that famous Vyasa Puja letter offering Srila Prabhupada in the mood of Vasudev Dutt. I'm traveling all over the world. I wish I can tell you that everything is going fine, but it's not. So let me take on all the karma and suffering of all the devotees so they can progress in their devotional life. And within short time after that, Maharaj was diagnosed with cancer and like that. Very advanced, very advanced mood of a Vaishnava. Vasudev Dutt, he was asking Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that please transfer all the karma of all the living entities on my head so they can go back to Godhead. I don't mind suffering on their behalf. And Srila Prabhupada writes how sometimes, the Christians say that, oh, because, if you believe in Christ, then, you can become free from suffering. Christ will take on your sins. But Vasudev Dutt didn't even ask people to believe in him. That was costless. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so moved. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, tears in his eyes. He was telling Vasudev that your humility is compassionate, breaking my heart. Even a dog from your village is dear to me. How do we become dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Through these divine qualities. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to him, it's not surprising you talk like this, Vasudev, that because you're Prahlad Maharaj. And Prahlad Maharaj's mood was that famous verses like Naiva Duje Paraduratyaya Vaitaranyas Tadvirya Gayana Mahamrita Magna Chitta. Prahlad Maharaj was praying, Sochi Tato Vimukha Chetase Indriyartho Maya Sukhaya Baram Udvahato Vimuda. I'm all set personally, but I'm concerned about these fools and rascals that are making elaborate plans for sense enjoyment. And in the cities where I want to be there, Prahlad Maharaj said. I don't want to be in the Himalayas searching for my own liberation and peace and mauna. Maunam chiranti vijanena parartha nishta. And so many countless examples. Rantidev and Rantidev, even at the cost of him starving to death, he distributed all the prasadam he had to the brahmana, to the dog eater, to the dogs, like this. This amazing example. So Srila Prabhupada, Mahabhagavat, with these exalted qualities, he was able to make millions of devotees around the world. Can you imagine? Like we don't know nothing. The society is like, we all know what it's like. And here is Srila Prabhupada. And in the purport, Prabhupada is saying the beginning quality of Krishna consciousness is to be non-envious. It's actually very exalted quality, beginning and end and middle, and it's inconceivable how envious people are. Wars, so many slaughterhouses, so much chaos. So-called we are like the most intelligent people to walk the earth, but just in the last 50, 60 years, we've completely like destroyed the planet. And we want to go to Mars to do the same thing over there. This is already, trashed, and then you go to Mars too. So, Srila Prabhupada's mood is that we have to um, practice and distribute. One of the definitions of envy Prabhupada gave is that if you're not distributing Krishna consciousness, or you're impeding Krishna consciousness being distributed, then that's envy. That's called himsa. Ahimsa means not envious, and himsa means envy. So Srila Prabhupada wanted us to share this message. One time he told his Mataji Yamuna that if you know something or you have something and you don't teach others, then you'll become envious. So we have to share whatever we have. And envy is like very complicated actually. Because if you're a mridanga player, you're actually envious of somebody else that knows how to play mridanga really well. If you don't know nothing, then you don't care if somebody plays nice mridanga. If you're a book distributor, you feel envy towards those who are doing more books than you. Like that, it's to compare, and this false ego is very complicated. So Srila Prabhupada is saying we should be in the mood of a team, the mood of a team. Like Vaisheshika Prabhu started this world, like one world Sankirtan team mood. That's very attractive actually. That's so Krishna consciousness. So Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's so many examples. Srimad Bhagavatam, uh, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya invited Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for prasadam, and they had made so many preparations that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was surprised how anybody can eat like this. And they were having such loving dealings, uh, and the envious Amoga was the son-in-law of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, appeared from nowhere. And then he saw this, all this being prepared, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu honoring prasadam. So Amoga said, what is this? So much sannyasi eating so much. What kind of sannyasi are you? And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, even though it's a son-in-law, it's a very respectable position, he took a stick and chased him, wanting to beat him up. And the wife of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was beating her chest and crying, let my daughter become a widow for this offense. And sure enough, this Amoga developed very severe cholera. He was having so much diarrhea and sickness, and he was about to leave his body because of this offense. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he was very dear to his dear devotee, he went to him and put his hand on his heart and said, Amoga, you're a Brahmana. How did you allow this chandala of envy come in your heart? It's not a very desirable quality to have. And Amoga got cured of the disease and he got purified. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, the other day we were discussing these different stages of bhakti, beginning from Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, like that, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. So even before we come in contact with the devotees or search of the devotees, Krishna Chakravarti Thakur says there's two preliminary qualifications or mercy needed even before that, namely some service to Vaishnava, somehow or other, and some blessings of a Vaishnava, some prayers, some merciful mood Vaishnavas had towards us before we even begin. So when we are dear to devotees, then we get the mercy of the Lord. This is, throughout all scriptures, Sarva Shastra Koi, not just in our scriptures, but all scriptures. This is understood. And there was this devotee, another one was this Gopal Chappal. There was this Srivas Thakur, was very attractive and very famous among the people. That Gopal Chappal wanted to minimize his position. So he put all this paraphernalia that we need for worshipping demigods. He put it there to minimize his position. And Srivas Thakur came out and he didn't care. He was, of course, it said if you're a preacher, you have to protect your reputation at all costs. You can't just let people trash your reputation, then no one will take you seriously. But if you're really an advanced devotee like the caliber of Srivas, he was like, he was calling the villagers, say, everybody come see this, I'm a Chandi worshipper, I'm a demigod worshipper, I'm a pretender, like this. And the villagers were feeling really bad. Who did this? So they swept and mopped and cleaned the place and like that. And Gopal Chappal, for this offense, he developed leprosy. And he was ostracized and he was living in the heat and rain and near the Ganga. And he was suffering so much, he was brought to his senses that, he was begging Lord Chaitanya one time. He saw Lord Chaitanya and he was begging with all like sincerity and said, please, please, free me from this. And Lord Chaitanya said, free you from this. You have to suffer like this for millions of births. This is just the token, this is just the beginning. Uh, and Gopal Chapal couldn't believe. He kept begging. He said, I can't take this. I can't take this. I can't take. Lord Chaitanya said, you have to go to Srivas Thakur and get his blessings. If you want to be relieved. So, these are all uh, teachings are there, you know, how to avoid envy and how to become dear to the devotees. When we become dear to the devotees, then we can become dear to the Lord. The saying goes, if you biting the hand that feeds us, if we are fault finding, comparing, criticizing, ideally we are supposed to be glorifying devotees like we have five mouths. But how will we ever get there if we are criticizing? We are going backwards. How are we going to have love and trust if we are gossiping? We should be speaking sweetly about devotees, encouraging the devotee. Unless it's our service, like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he told one of his disciples who was very harsh, correcting everyone and putting everybody in place. And Bhaktisiddhanta told him, "That's my austerity. Why are you so eager?" So, if we are not at the stage of glorifying devotees and worshipping the devotees, at least we should control our tongue. Should keep our mouth shut. At least that's the beginning. One time, one senior brahmacharis came from Chaupati to LA when we were brahmacharis to the ashram. And at the end of the visit, I was asking this devotee, Govinda Prabhu, I was asking him, so what do you think and how do we have like Chaupati like mood? And he said, oh, one thing I noticed, at least you guys are not fighting. That much he saw. So you can build on that. But if we are, bitter and critical and envious, then we basically missing out on the human form of life. Might as well go and play soccer or something. Because we're not going to get the goal of life. We are here mumbling our rounds or whatever, but we're not doing it properly. So we have to be very careful. Only two things Chaitanya Bhagavat says. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, don't criticize devotees and chant Hare Krishna, I'll take you back to Godhead. Only two things. But Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj was saying one time how, when you want to talk bad and gossip, the mouth waters like when you see a bottle of pickle, the Indian pickle you see that, it's like, oh my goodness. It's a horrible, horrible quality. So, what time is it? I'll stop a little earlier this time. That way, any devotees want to make any comments or corrections, feedbacks. Yes, Mother. Mike, I can't hear. You wanted to hear the mic? You want to use the mic? Yeah. Yeah. I have, can you repeat what, or one of you, can you say what Mother you just said?
She's asking about not, maybe we don't criticize devotees, but then outside, there's criticism, out in the material world, right? Feeling and exercising. So, yeah. And is that okay, or should that be avoided as?
Yes. Huh? Maybe we can just. I mean, Srila Prabhupada, from his example, he did that. We have to have, it's like Prabhupada said, it's like we are in war against Maya. And sometimes, whether it's presidential debate or you're in a boxing ring or you're a warrior, like you have to have some form of disgust and anger before you can fight. So Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada and other our spiritual disciples of Prabhupada, they criticize the world, but in the mood of helping. Like Srila Prabhupada would say, the missing link is my boots to Darwin's face. But there's no greater well-wisher of Darwin than Srila Prabhupada. He's compassionate. So he would criticize, also he wants to help. Not just criticize, like, sometimes even our devotees, we don't, reading Prabhupada books, we get so caught up in what, this one is doing, Trump is doing, and, we take sides. And so if we're not able to see, the thing is, we may have a concern, but we may not have influence. So without having influence, the concern, if the area of concern is too broad and you're all day talking about it, it's useless. What are you going to change Trump? Nobody can, no, not even the politician can change. What a little Hare Krishna somewhere talking about him all day long and spamming everybody's consciousness on Facebook. So we got to know, like, how are we going to help? The Prabhupada said it's a soul-killing civilization. It's like a nutshell. It is. But if we can distribute books, if we can teach people about Krishna, then they stop killing themselves and animals and planets like that. So it's like a positive criticism is good. You were going to say something? Yeah, it's good.
Just thinking about, well, 80% of the sin. So in terms of when we see these things and maybe are critical of them, but understanding that actually the people are innocent. And so we criticize, but with the idea of trying to help them to see, this is how this is not what we're doing. And I was also thinking of envy, and also the devotees can slow the progress of the project because if we're envious of each other, and we sabotage each other. We can't move forward because we're not cooperating with each other.
You wanted to say anything? Oh, you didn't have anything to say. I do. It's just it's nice. There's a lot of fun. The subject of envy is kind of always, the often what I hear when we talk about envy is used to serve those who are envious. But I don't think it's always so clear about us being part of this. And then, yeah, especially, uh, I never would think that I was envious before I started to check my track, I think. And so sometimes these things come up, and then they're just there. And we try to like not pay attention to them, or give them like any room to grow. But yeah, so how come it's just sometimes there? Doesn't like go away for a second. Just like, oh, okay, I see that I'm gross. That's great. Yeah, if you think about it, the envy is there, you're saying, and that's what brought us to this world. Envy of Krishna is what brought us to this world. So it's going to take some work, but if we follow the process, then we can overcome this. We can overcome and become. It's anything, any quality we practice. We have to practice and emphasize and prioritize, then it works. So the beginning is not to uh, have association of people that speak bad about other devotees. That's the beginning. Because if we do that, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that will destroy the bhakti creep. It's gardening, like you're gardening. Imagine a mad elephant comes in there, it's finished. It will trample everything. So the beginning is we have to practice to speak like sweet things about devotees, especially behind their backs, not just in their faces. And then you'll see how Krishna is so pleased. Krishna is so happy. Of course, we all have experience. Like you can even get kicked out of a project or a temple or a community if we are critical. And we think it's me or is this authority or no, it's ultimately it's Krishna and Radharani, can whack you on the head with the flute. We think it can go on forever. No, can't. Was there anything from the online Sangha? There's a verse, unless uh, there is this really beautiful verse I came across. It says, "This is the Lord speaking to the Prachetas. The amazing thing is, Prabhupada points out, the Lord was more pleased about their mood towards each other more than their austerities of meditating under water and all that. So here it says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear sons of the king, Archana Bari's sons, I'm very much pleased by the friendly relationships among you. All of you are engaged in one occupation, devotional service. I'm so pleased with your mutual friendship that I wish you all good fortune. Now you may ask a benediction of me. Imagine you doing all these austerities in tapasya, and the Lord is saying, you can ask a benediction not because you stood on your head or you controlled your breath, but because you are kind to each other, loving to each other. The unity of the individual souls attempting to satisfy the Supreme Lord or rendering service to the Lord is the real unity. So when we do service together, our friendships become very thick. Whether we're cooking or farming or book distribution or pujari services, if we have friends we do service with, we have team, then it's very dear to Krishna. See, we can understand Krishna's mind, but the scriptures are saying, you want to know how to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Not just some dogma like, oh yeah, you believe and you're kind to the people that go to your church and color, like your color, your financial status, and they eat like you, they're from your village. They have no knowledge of the Supreme. But here we're seeing the mind of the Supreme. We're hearing the envy, if we can at least practice it theoretically, like the saying, fake it till you make it. At least try to practice to glorify devotees. And everybody needs encouragement. Everybody needs. One time I wrote to one senior devotee and he was very grateful. I was surprised. And the devotee said, oh, everybody thinks I'm Maha Bhagavat and I don't need encouragement, but I appreciated you took your time to write to me. So we're not dull stones. And it's very discouraging when somebody is working hard and we tear them down with our words, the tongue. It's like a sword. So we should be doing the opposite among Vaishnavas. So I thank you all so much. Thank you to Kumari Gopi to push me to give class today. It was her turn. Hare Krishna Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Sri Radha Damodar Alita Vishaka ki jai. Gita Nagari Dham ki jai. Yashadev Prabhu ki jai. Rameshwari Dasi ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Krishna Radhe Radha God, twinkle, twinkle, little star, God, twinkle, twinkle, little star. Krishna Krishna Hare Guru Shiva Kingdom Vedanta Sakhi Mere Namaste Saraswati Gauravani Pracharati Nirvishesha Shunyamrapani Paschaldeshata Krishna Chaitanya Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna,
The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which can attain pure devotional service. I bow down